Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the first week of June 2025. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any local community in America and beyond. Actress Loretta Swit died May 30th, 2025 at her home in New York City at the age of 87. She won 2 Emmy Awards for her portrayal of the Army nurse Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on the TV classic MASH. Swit is being remembered for winning hearts as she brought to life one of TV's most memorable characters, and for her advocacy on behalf of animals. Actress Valerie Mahaffey died May 30th, 2025 in Los Angeles. She died of cancer at the age of 71. She won an Emmy Award for her recurring performance on Northern Exposure as Eve, the hypochondriac wife of Adam. Mahaffey is also being remembered for her roles in Desperate Housewives, Seinfeld, Glee, and many others. Musician Al Foster died May 28, 2025 at his home in New York City. He died of a serious illness at the age of 82. He was a jazz drummer, best known for his work with Miles Davis in the 1970s and 80s, including on such records as Pangea and You're Under Arrest. Foster is also being remembered for his work as a band leader and with jazz greats like Sonny Rollins, Frank Morgan, and McCoy Tyner. Boxer Mike McCallum died May 31st, 2025 in Las Vegas at the age of 68. He was a world champion in 3 different weight classes: super welterweight, middleweight, and light heavyweight. McCallum is being remembered as the Body Snatcher, the nickname he earned for his ability to deliver devastating body blows. A note to remember: sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Actress Renée Victor died May 30th, 2025 at her home in Sherman Oaks, California. She died of lymphoma at the age of 86. She provided the voice of Abuelita in the beloved Pixar movie Coco. Victor is also being remembered for playing the housekeeper Lupita in Weeds and for her voice work in the hugely popular video game The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Actress Barbara Ferris died May 23, 2025 at the age of 88. She starred in movies in her native England, including Catch Us If You Can and Children of the Damned. Ferris is also being remembered for her role on the soap opera Coronation Street in the 1960s. Actor Jonathan Joss was shot and killed June 1, 2025 in San Antonio, Texas at the age of 59. He was the voice of John Redcorn on King of the Hill for 12 seasons, and he had recently begun recording for the show's upcoming revival. Joss is also being remembered for his recurring role on Parks and Recreation as Chief Ken Hotate. TV producer and host John Brenkus died May 31, 2025 by suicide at the age of 53. He was the creator of Sports Science, which ran for 3 seasons on Fox Sport Network and ESPN. Brenkus is being remembered for giving viewers a unique look at their favorite sports. Composer Alf Clausen died May 29, 2025 at his home in Los Angeles. He died after a long struggle with progressive supranuclear palsy at the age of 84. He was the longtime composer for The Simpsons, responsible for almost every piece of music heard in the show in an incredible range of genres and styles from 1990 to 2017. Clausen is also being remembered for his work as a composer for such shows as Moonlighting and Alf. Football player Jim Marshall died June 3, 2025 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He died after a long period of hospitalization at the age of 87. He was a defensive end with the Minnesota Vikings in the 1960s and 70s, and he started a record-setting 270 consecutive games with the team. Marshall is being remembered as one of the NFL's great Ironmen. Author Edmund White died June 3, 2025 in New York City at the age of 85. His award-winning books included The Beautiful Room is Empty, Renée, a Biography, and Loss Within Loss, Artists in the Age of AIDS. White is being remembered as the godfather of queer lit for his work to help establish the modern LGBTQ literary scene. Football player Steve Wright died June 1, 2025 at a care facility in Augusta, Georgia at the age of 82. He won 3 consecutive NFL championships with the Green Bay Packers, including the first 2 Super Bowls. Wright is being remembered as the model for the NFL's Man of the Year award. Astronaut and politician Marc Garneau died June 4, 2025 after a short illness at the age of 76. He was the first Canadian in space, making his first spaceflight on Space Shuttle Challenger in 1984 and returning in 1996 and 2000. He is also being remembered for his later career as the president of the Canadian Space Agency, then a member of Parliament for 15 years, who also served as Minister of Transport and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Garneau was a Royal Canadian Navy veteran who served for 14 years and achieved the rank of captain. Filmmaker and writer Sacha Jenkins died May 23, 2025 at his home in New York City. He died of complications from multiple system atrophy at the age of 53. He made documentaries about hip-hop culture and music history, including Fresh Dressed, Wu-Tang Clan of Mics and Men, and Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues. Jenkins is also being remembered for his cultural criticism as co-founder of Ego Trip magazine, music editor of Vibe, and a contributor to Spin and Rolling Stone. Baseball player Betsy Jochum died May 31, 2025 in South Bend, Indiana at the age of 104. She was a founding member of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League depicted in the hit movie A League of Their Own. She was an all-star for the South Bend Blue Sox and won the league's batting crown in 1944. Jochum is also being remembered for her later career as a physical education teacher and a prominent supporter of women's and girls' sports. Before we continue with the celebrity tributes, let me just say that some of the most touching obituaries we saw this week at Legacy weren't for celebrities, but for everyday people like you and me. These include a U.S. Navy submarine commander who began his remarkable life journey as the eldest of 12 children, a beloved teacher who fondly remembered the time she got to attend a space shuttle launch at Cape Canaveral, one of Chicago's most accomplished eye doctors who was proudest of his family and loved to golf, ski, and scuba dive, and a 104-year-old great-great-grandmother who volunteered with Meals on Wheels, became president of the PTA, and amassed a vast collection of butterfly pins. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 15 years ago this week, actress Rue McClanahan died at the age of 76. She was a TV sitcom favorite in Maude, Mama's Family, and The Golden Girls. 20 years ago this week, actress Anne Bancroft died at the age of 73. She played Anne Sullivan in The Miracle Worker on Broadway and on the big screen, winning a Tony Award and an Oscar, and she starred in movies like The Graduate and Agnes of God. 25 years ago this week, bandleader and musician Tito Puente died at the age of 77. He was called the King of the Timbales and beloved for his Latin jazz and mambo music. 50 years ago this week, actor and musician Ozzie Nelson died at the age of 69. After starting his career as a bandleader, he went on to greater fame as a star of The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, first on radio and then as a long-running TV sitcom. Actor Tony Curtis was born 100 years ago this week. He died in September 2010 at the age of 85. His many movies included the Defiant Ones, Some Like It Hot, Operation Petticoat, and Spartacus. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Virginia have been lowered in memory and respect of the 12 victims who tragically lost their lives during a 2019 shooting at the Virginia Beach Municipal Center. Flags in Virginia have also been lowered to honor the memory of the Honorable Gerald C. Jones, Circuit Court Judge and former member of the Virginia House of Delegates. Flags in Maryland have been lowered in honor of Fire and Rescue Memorial Remembrance Day. Flags in California have been lowered to honor the memory of Baldwin Park Police Department officer Samuel Riveros, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Pennsylvania have been lowered to honor the memory of DCNR Forest Supervisor and Fire Warden and Fire Chief of Carsonville Volunteer Fire Company, David L. Warfel. Flags in Iowa have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Private James Lee Harrington, who was killed in action during World War II on D-Day. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in New Mexico have been lowered to honor the memory of Officer Timothy Ontiveros of the Bloomfield Police Department, who died in the line of duty. Flags in New York have been lowered to honor the memory of Department of Transportation Highway Maintenance Supervisor Robert Bort. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.